Abbey's View. I did not go any further, but waited until Laura and Dan had caught up to me. Once they finally rounded the corner and beheld what I had already been viewing for some time, we all three stood there transfixed and transformed. It was as if on this particular day we somehow found ourselves in a different dimension. I don't remember how long we gazed in marvel, but finally we continued on, carefully winding our way through the maze. The most inexplicable thing was once we passed the webs, they disappeared from our sight. I'm not even kidding. Probably you scientific type folk will say it has something to do with the way the light was hitting them. And I guess you would be right, because once we passed the first, and it disappeared on us, we went back past it to look again, and sure enough, it was there as big as ever. A couple of steps down the road, a couple of steps back up. Again and again we played this game while making our way down. All the while, Laura and Dan seemed to become little children once again. You could so clearly see the wonder in their faces. It certainly wasn't just me that was seeing and feeling these things. We had found ourselves dropped right into the middle of the most fascinating adventure. I guess it is kind of hard to explain, and I'm sorry if I'm not doing a very good job of it. We were having the time of our lives. We would stop at several different points and be amazed every single time, because no matter where we stopped, if we looked back up the way we had come, the road and the entire view, for that matter, looked as it always does. Yet, staying in that exact spot, if we turned to look down where we had not yet trod, we were in a world filled with mystery and mists and magic, with dozens more webs still to be maneuvered through. Another thing that was kind of strange is that with all those spider webs and the enormous size of them, we never did see a single spider. I, for one, am glad of that fact. I'm not particularly afraid of insects. I think that is more a human phobia. But if the webs were any indication of the size the spiders must have been, then I am content not to have met them. That section of the road normally takes us about 2 minutes to walk down. I swear it took us a good 15 minutes that day, possibly more. Once we passed the second curve, we continued our walk. The walk had become normal once again. No more did I sense that we were in another time or space. Everything was back to normal as we traveled the path we have done so many times before. We turned around in much the same place as we always do and started heading back for home. Laura and Dan were getting excited again and started talking about what had happened to us as we approached what had been the second curve. We got to the magical section, but when we looked up the road, we saw nothing. Oh yeah, well, of course we wouldn't see anything from this direction, so we continued on our journey. However, each time we looked back to see the webs that brought us such marvel not so long ago, there was nothing to be seen. Still to this day, I think that may have been my most special walk.